but you will never destroy me. It takes strength to resist. You can kill me, but you...
Hold up. I need to play something. Because that was a fuck up.
Honor my client, please, oopsie daisy.
You can kill me, but you will never destroy me. It takes strength to resist the dark side.
Throughout heaven and earth, I alone am the honored one.
Are you kidding? Why the hell should I wait for you?
I know what it's like to try and rebuild a life. I had a bad day too, once.
If you're having nightmares, then welcome to the club. My name's Subaru Natsuki, and I am the Knight of Amelia.
Right now, all I can give you is just death.
It wasn't for you in particular.
You fought 100 men because it's not in your nature to run away.
If you are feeling disheartened, that you are somehow not enough, set your heart ablaze.
So that was quite the eventful start to a stream, being an absolute fuck up like I am. Man, still battling a little bit of a cough, so I'm going to try and mute that and take care of that so that you don't have to listen to me hacking my lungs out. Hopefully I'll be quick on the mute button, but we will see. Tonight, we're talking about the ReZero leaks and the response to them, as well as the potential and premature termination of Studio Eclipse's Berserk the Black Swordsman. RIP. You will be missed. And Dandadan. Those are kind of the big topics tonight. And I guess just forcibly segue into the next thing. I finished Arc 6 of ReZero finally. All the way through the Pleiades Watchtower now. And on to Arc 7, which means I'm probably going to need to order books. But before I do that, I actually want to upgrade my equipment. So I have to do some budgeting and saving. And I probably won't be able to read any more ReZero for the time being. Okay. Hey, Muffler Tape, how you doing? Because I got if I want to get a PC and a monitor, like a proper setup for doing all this stuff, it's going to cost me some money, and I don't want to run too tight with like rent and everything like that. So, yay, adult stuff. But like I said, we'll pretty much be going over the ReZero leaks and some of the response to that. There's the Berserk Black Swordsman drama. I say drama loosely because it's interesting. And then finally some Dandadan talk with the release of the first encounter, which I went to last night. I had an unexpected guest join me for that movie, and well, I thought it was a good experience and a great first outing for the anime. But without further ado, it is time. You know what I haven't done? I haven't set up my second screen here. I was like feeling like I was forgetting something. So while I get this rolling, I'm going to start getting that rolling. And we will share this. And we'll start talking about some of the things that we have gone over or that I have watched this week. Okay. Get this ready. So I don't need this in my face. Just going to swing this out of the way to the big one. And ready to go. Okay, so let's full screen this bad boy. I have watched some stuff this week. Actually, I watched some stuff today. All right. My Wife Has No Emotion just wrapped up, like the last episode. Same with Shoshimin. So I actually finished these two today. And as far as those go, I guess I can give some like brief reviews. Shoshimin's getting a season 2. So it's knowing that it's sort of sad ending, I should say, has a chance to be revised. So I'm not going to say anything about it. I did like it all the way through, although it poses a very interesting moral conundrum at the very end of framing someone for a crime in order to protect yourself from harm. A lot of brain games in that one. I definitely do love it. I have not caught up with Oshinoko yet. I do need to. I've been loving that series. Makeine, I'm all caught up on. There's still 2 more episodes left. That series has been great. And no matter what, people messing with Komari in, oh god, in the series is never not funny to me. So keeping that up there. I need to catch up on Alia-san, which is going to be the subject of my next video. I'm going to be talking a little bit about my theory about the whole incest is wincest thing, particularly with Yuki. And I am not convinced that she's actually full on into the incest. I think it's an act. And I'm going to go through why I believe that. And if anyone's an actual like light novel reader who is familiar with the series, you can full on correct me on that if I'm wrong. Either way, I still do enjoy the series. It's just one of those things where like Yuki doesn't actually strike. It's not like a Ruby Hoshino series situation like with Oshinoko, where like she legitimately does have some sort of like weird feelings for her brother, and that's the result of a lot of crazy psychological stuff going on there. I think with Alia-san, it is really just like a I want my brother to return to the way he used to be. So I'm going to act like this overly characteristic. I'm going to put on this overly characteristic mask and try to show him that like I'll always be in his corner supporting him no matter what, even if the rest of our family does. So I'll get into that in a bit, but I do need to catch up on the anime. I don't really feel like reading the light novels. I read the first one and was like, they're okay. Still need to catch up on with story. I've been enjoying that. Still need to catch up on the Elusive Samurai. Both of those have probably been the 2 best battle anime or more action-oriented anime this season. I am caught up on Magical Girl and Evil Lieutenant, and it's just as cute and fluffy as always, and I do definitely enjoy it. I am not disappointed with anything, although I really feel like someone needs to fucking slap the mascot character harder. I do need to catch up on Pseudo Harem. It's just I don't really feel like doing that. And same with Noko-tan. A lot of these I do need to catch up on. Like I said, I finished My Wife Has No Emotion. I'm probably a couple episodes behind on I forget the name of this one. Failure Frame. Quality Assurance in Another World, kind of interesting. I do need to catch up on that one. Probably do a lot of binging tomorrow. Otherwise, there's one other thing I did watch this week. Outside of Dandadan, of course, but I can't put that on here because technically Dandadan's for the next season, which once we get closer to fall, I'll actually do a whole dedicated stream going through like what I think is going to pop off and what's not. So Dead Demons, Dead Destruction. Quite the name. And I watched one episode, and to be fair, it's the episode 0. It's all I had time for. And if I'm entirely honest, I feel like it's just okay. Just okay. And why? Well, honestly, like the premise is cool, but I feel like once you actually get into it, it's just highly disappointing. It's not terrible by any means, but it easily could have ended up being much better, which is, the disappointing. Do you want to fuck off, Pilgrim? You don't even watch this shit. So yeah, that is pretty much where we've landed for the week. I also changed the first tier for drop to just lost interest because saying boring kind of does denote some level of quality. For these, it's just I lost interest in watching them. I can't really say some of them are bad, especially like this or this, in spite of the censorship going on with 2.5D seduction. Take that as you will. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm telling you to fuck off, Pilgrim. But yeah, that pretty much concludes the watch list. There really isn't a whole lot else to go over. It's gonna be more fun when I actually start up the next season. And I might start doing this just bi-weekly instead of weekly because sometimes I just don't have the time to actually sit down and watch a bunch of these. So yeah. We're moving on. We are moving on from Le Tirist. What? Oh God, I'm dying. I guess we can talk a little bit about one thing that is related to one of the anime I talked about. Makeine, one that I will never stop praising because it is fantastic, had an interesting addition to the credits in a recent episode. With episode 9, if it'll share screen, let's go. Let's pull this up. Okay, here we go. So, yeah, episode 9 of Too Many Losing Heroines had a special staff credit. Karen Himemiya, bust coordinator. And if it'll load this stupid little thing here, they added an extra credit, a whole new staff member, just to make sure the fucking boob jiggle in this show was correct. Which, shout out to them. And the whole 8K thing is an inside joke for the series. Like, imagine your whole job or getting credited for working on an anime because of the boob physics. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Fan service and anime titties will save the world, okay? So yeah, there we have that show's marketing is so freaking fantastic. Like the fact that the official account keeps track of how many calories the main chick actually consumes across her entire across the entire series. I think it's over like I think it's getting close to like 100,000 at this point. Ugh. Man, it's kind of weird because I spent most of this week just struggling to make that video that I posted earlier. I posted yesterday, I should say. Like it got like to the point where I was sitting there creatively dead trying to figure out what I was going to do for it. Eventually, once I found something that worked for me, production went really fast because I actually enjoyed it. Hold on, I got a text. Okay. Never mind. I don't need to respond to that. It's just Rolo. So, another thing I will sort of loop back to that I've talked about recently is the Minecraft trailer, because someone actually made a better looking Minecraft trailer than what they gave us with that fucking Jack Black shit. Bring this up. And apologies, my internet's being a little bit slow. And this is partly the reason why I want to budget for getting a PC here, because I need to hardwire my actual connection. Oh god. I got it rough tonight. So, you know what? Let's just where did all of that come from? Okay, that's where a good bulk of it came from. Christ. Sorry, other messages. I shouldn't be doing this stuff during stream because it's unprofessional. All right, let's actually.
Right this way!
See, that's what it actually should have looked like. They should have just used the straight up Minecraft art style to do this whole thing. And I don't think half the complaints they got would even be there anymore.
What the hell?
I still don't think Minecraft needs a movie, but like, holy crap. How bad do you have to be at your job to not do something like this? It wasn't hard.
Anything you can dream about here, you can make.
Who are you?
I am Steve.
Okay.
This guy is such a tool bag.
Enough of that. So yeah, that's pretty much what it kind of like wraps it for like the small topics and shit that I wanted to touch on really quick to start the stream off. And I guess we can kind of move into I should have just made Minecraft story mode a movie. Yeah, I never checked out Minecraft story mode. It just wasn't terribly interesting to me. Yeah, something like that, Pilgrim. That probably would have worked better either way. It's just an absolute flustercluck when it comes to like bad decisions. You were like 10 when, I'm assuming you're talking about Minecraft story mode came out. I don't remember how old I was when that came out. Either way, I got another topic to move on to. Let's bring something up here. So a while back, I talked about this little fan project of the greatest manga to have ever been written, Berserk. Studio Eclipse is a fan studio doing doing their own animated project as like a spiritual successor to the 97 Berserk anime, which the big issue with that is it's sort of outdated at this point, and it didn't actually cover the entirety of what the manga has to do. It skips a couple of arcs, and it only goes to the end of the Golden Age, which is really where things start to go fucking wild. It does contain the eclipse, which is like the most notorious scene from Berserk. But either way, now it looks like they may be facing official repercussions for not being licensed. That's kind of scary because I've been looking forward to this project, and these sorts of things take a lot of work to produce. But this here is actually the actual account. So Chibi Reviews retweeted this saying that the official the language they're using sounds like threatening a lawsuit. And here's the actual English translation of what's being said here. So the production of a Berserk animation is being announced on the following X account: Studio Eclipse, and website studioeclipse.com. But such production has not been authorized by Mira Kentaro, Studio Gaga, the copyright holder. In addition, the videos accompanying the announcement are being displayed without permission. So it sounds like, and this is kind of on brand for the Japanese, it sounds like they aren't too terribly happy with the fact that someone is making a fan animation. That's, again, not too terribly off brand for the Japanese. They're very protective. And Japanese fans are actually kind of happy with this move. I don't get why, because there hasn't been a good Berserk adaptation. I should rephrase that. There hasn't been the adaptation of Berserk that it deserves in a very long time. Which sucks because it's great. It's peak of dark fiction right there. Like one of the best stories I have ever read. Easily the best manga I have ever read. So I'm hoping that this is just kind of a strongly worded letter and nothing too terribly indicative of what's going to happen to the project. But seeing as this is catching public attention and companies tend to like to abuse their holding of copyright protection, I doubt that... oh, come on. Are you really not going to load now? Okay, there we go. Trying to get the next thing set up. So we'll pull that down from the stage. I'm hoping that it stays up and that it stays the course and that nothing terrible happens to that studio, because I've been looking forward to this. I think Berserk deserves a good adaptation, one that people actually will like, I should say, because 2016 was oof. It was oof, to say the least. Like, I don't know how you boof an adaptation that badly, but they did. Like, God, some of the 3D animation for that is horrendous. But enough on that. We're going to move into some leaky leaks. So we'll share this tab instead. At the stage. So came out from a leaker a little while back, and it's been covered quite extensively, and I'm kind of going to go over a little bit of the same here. WikiLeaks, feds incoming. Yeah, well, my name's not Julian Assange, so I'm good. Because there's some interesting things to see in here if it'll load this freaking image. Crying out loud, my computer is being so slow today. How you like this? Please. Please. Okay, there we go. So, the first item on the list is, I don't think you can see it. Maybe if I do this, it'll be a little bit easier. Genshin Impact anime won't be made in the short term. So effectively, they're not expecting to release it now. It looks like there might be a whole lot of production ahead of them for getting that one released. And honestly, I couldn't care less. I know it's an UFO Table project. That's pretty much the only thing I really care about, is the fact that UFO Table is doing it, from what I remember. Otherwise, I couldn't care less about Genshin Impact. It's just another gacha game that I think too many people simp for gacha games. The next one, though, I do actually care about. Frieren Season 2 is in production. That does not surprise me because that series popped the fuck off. It is probably one of the biggest anime phenomenon in years with how popular it is and how well it performed. So it getting a Season 2 is just a matter of fact. Like, that should be unsurprising to anyone. And the fact that they are like going straight for that, yeah, you were practically printing money with that series. Fire Punch is not being animated. Honestly, I tried Fire Punch. I think I got like a volume and a half in, and I was like, yeah, this might not be for me. I think I'm gonna move on. And ironically, though, I did end up liking Chainsaw Man a whole lot more. But I know a lot of people talk about Fire Punch very positively, so that might be like a huge hit to their hopes. But it doesn't really affect me. Blue Box is planned for 2 cores. Blue Box and Sakamoto Days are likely in the same phase of development. So I don't know how to feel about Blue Box. A lot of people talk very positively from what I've seen. I don't generally care much for sports anime. Not really super into that kind of stuff. The production schedule for Bleach anime is quite disastrous. Well, they did say that they were going to fast track it a while back, so that actually doesn't surprise me a whole lot. They did say they wanted to output a lot, like they wanted to do fast-paced output of high-quality anime for Bleach. That was coming from Studio Pierrot, who is the producer of Bleach. So it being a disaster is no surprise, of course. Unless you have like a well-oiled machine to actually crank this stuff out, or you have it ready in advance, you're not going to be able to do that kind of stuff. I feel bad for Bleach fans because I know that's going to suck if this thing doesn't work out, but I'm not super torn up about it. After the Elusive Samurai finishes, good series by the way, which may have a second season. The next that the studio will work on is Sono Bisque Doll Season 2. So My Dress Up Darling Season 2, which there were leaks for. If Fire Punch gets an anime adaptation, then it is as dark as Berserk, so Berserk deserves love too. I don't think the demand is there for it though. Too many softies. Yeah, in the latter years, most recently, the shonen boom has kind of sucked in a lot of people who don't have the sensibility to handle mature or dark material. Which, more power to you if that you don't want to watch that kind of stuff. But I'm sitting here like, the comments I got for my Mushoku Tensei videos were unhinged. a lot of the shonen only audience is just not actually there for anime. They're just there for flashy fights and actions. And I don't want to denigrate anyone who just wants to enjoy what they enjoy, but the fact of the matter is like, it's like going to a Culver's and getting a hamburger and saying it's the best food you've ever had. Like, sure, it may taste good, it may be satisfying in the moment, but if we're talking about like a lasting impression, you're going to get far better food at a steakhouse. Just saying. The steakhouse being something like Berserk, by the way. And I think that kind of coincides with the fact that a lot of people don't pay attention to themes or subtle nuances anymore. Like the whole thing with Rudius. I've been working in the background on a very, very long script detailing like the fine print of Rudius's crimes, so to speak, and talking about things he is and isn't guilty of. Which, by the way, if I have to sum up Rudius Grey Rat, it is literally the character that skirts the line of absolutely reprehensible as closely as possible. Like it's wild how close he comes to some fucked up shit. Once you start actually like defining things and making a point of it. But it's kind of the point of the series is Rudy does fucked up thing, realizes it's fucked up, and then doesn't do it anymore. And eventually he ends up a normal person. So congratulations. That is, yeah. But trying to communicate that point across to people who just want to say stuff like pedo tensei and all that kind of stuff. Or report me for child abuse because I made a video about a character. Like fucking hell. Yeah, this is the point. Like redo of Healer is actually far more reprehensible in terms of what actually happens in the story, because the main character actually goes through with that shit. In Mushoku Tensei, the worst you get is Rudy does some really creepy things to Eris and out of like revenge for the abuse she constantly hurls at him. And then he subsequently gets the shit beaten out of him for doing those things. Never once does it say that this is a good thing to do to someone as a way to get back at them. It's actually sort of a point that you're not supposed to copy Rudius. But Redo of Healer gets a pass because, oh well, he's doing awful things to awful people. Motherfucker, he's still a rapist. And I am not exaggerating. I mean, this dude is literally brainwashing and raping chicks in that series. And I'm just like, how is this a thing? Yeah. Needless to say, I, by mistake, when I first started, I was still like barely in anime at the time that aired. And I found out real fast what that series actually was. And oh God. I hope that doesn't stick on my record. So back to where I was. My Dress Up Darling season 2 is going to be a thing. We knew that it was. We knew that they were going to do it. They hadn't planned to initially, but because of the wide spread success of the series, they decided that they were going to do a season 2. Followed by Bocchi the Rock season 2. And Cloverworks has a lot of anime to catch up on. Yeah, that makes sense. Excuse me. Dragon Ball anime is not complete yet. Now, that's rather unspecific. I'm assuming they mean Daima, which would be interesting considering their release is coming up soon. I think like early October. But if they're talking about Super, that could be even more interesting, because if they're saying that Super isn't finished, there might be more to that whole story. They might actually follow the rest of the manga. Now, this one I can actually attest to. Dandadan is very well made. Yes, actually. The anime is incredible so far with the first 3 episodes. I absolutely do think that this is going to be one of the big ones of the season. It's probably going to be one of those talked about for a little while. It does have to compete with the insanity of the ReZero fandom, who will absolutely shill the shit out of that series. Especially after being so long without more anime. But I think it has a pretty good shot of carving out a good chunk of the viewership this season. The anime adaptation of Sekiro lacks resources, which probably means that not a lot of people are working on it. Not a lot of money is being put into it. And it depends on how many people Kutsuna Kenichi can gather. So it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of faith in the Sekiro adaptation. Among the completed Shueisha manga, there is a short series that will be adapted into an anime. I don't know what that could be. I have no idea what that might end up being. ReZero director is acting foolishly, but let's see how shit will become. So that one in particular, and this is where I will sort of segue into a different post here. That one in particular seems very unfairly opinionated, especially because my comments on my recent video have been talking about how some of the people have seen the leaks for ReZero, and that episode 1 was really, really good. So I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I feel like that's heavily opinionated, and I have heard that this leaker is a very staunch anti-ReZero person. So here's what the go-to guy for all things ReZero, Ice, has to say about what came out about that statement. So after yesterday, about some actual positivity with leaks. Here's some things you should expect from ReZero Season 3. Things that have really been hyping me up. Strong animation around priority episodes, especially with the average level of animation easily blowing Season 2 out of the water. Which I did mention at one point that ReZero isn't really known for like fights and stuff, for fight animation. It has 2 really good ones, I think, honestly. And ironically, both involve Elsa Graniert. When Reinhardt fights Elsa in like the very first arc, I think it's episode 3 when he shows up and fights Elsa. And then when Garfield fights Elsa, I believe those 2 were both really well choreographed and animated. But otherwise, I think most of it's just okay. Well, Wilhelm attacking the white whale was another good bit of action. Anyway, with some episodes likely surpassing the peaks of Season 1. Okay. If it's the best animated out of the whole series, then I'll look forward to it. A lot of animator names that those of the Sakuga community regard in high esteem. There will be a lot of familiar faces from outside the Japanese animation sphere too, with Twitter WebGen animators also partaking in some episodes. A lot of care towards keeping the story script adaptation something fans of the novel will appreciate. Obviously, there will be some cuts, but looking at the big picture, I've seen just how much Tappei's increased involvement with the project is resulting in even some subtle lore references being maintained. That's good, because ReZero really does thrive off of small, tiny little things. Or like scenes that end up getting cut, like Aldebaran's scene with Subaru in the first season, where, they talk about being from the same world. Anyway, a sensible, flexible-ish schedule that has changed a couple of times to reflect on the internal status of things so that things won't be rushed into panic stations as it airs. So they're not going to do a Jujutsu Kaisen. Good for them. I appreciate it. In fact, last I know, production is already deep into the second core overall, and work on Arc 6 should have started too. Pre-production definitely did as early as 2023. I just finished Arc 6 today, and favorite. A lot of people talk about how it's like one of the best arcs out there, but Arc 2 will always be the one that means the most to me. And I actually posted a video about why that is and why I love ReZero. But so be it. Anyway, killer VA performances as is typical of ReZero, and great soundtrack to boot from Suehiro and Co. So at some point I do need to pull up, maybe I'll save it for a little later, but Requiem of Silence, that song is just beautiful. Like, some extended episodes as leaked beforehand by myself, but I don't know how many that'll be in total. Don't expect to go into don't expect to go in expecting every episode to be an extended length. A lot of passionate core staff on the project that truly buy into the philosophy that the old core staff had left into the project. Stumbling. Maybe I shouldn't have had that alcohol. A surprise Stride and Melinda appearance. Okay, that last one was a joke. I believe Stride and Melinda are from arcs 7 and 8. I think particularly 8, because those are in Wallachia, or set in Wallachia. So who knows how things are going to go with that. Either way, I do not believe this leaker's take on the ReZero stuff. It's just way too biased for me to seriously consider anything that has been said about that. The director's acting foolishly. Let's go back to this. So, don't get your hopes up for too much for Blue Lock Season 2. Interesting. The anime of Seven Deadly Sins is a leading project of Kodansha. That's kind of rough because from everything I've heard, Seven Deadly Sins fell off hard after like the first 2 seasons. Not sure if The Devil is a Part-Timer Season 3 has been canceled. Again, another one that fell off hard after initial success. The first season was great. I tried to watch the second season and just got bored of it. I'm like, I'm not feeling this. Ranma and a Half Season 2 is almost finished being produced. There are over 20 classic animations being remade. A Story of a Girl Who Was Unable to Become a Mage is one of 3 anime projects. The third project by Doga Kobo, leaning toward darkness, urban legends. The second project, the story is similar to Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night. And the story develops well. I haven't watched Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night, so I'm not familiar with anything on that. I can't really comment it. All preparations for the above projects are underway, as long as there is sufficient budget and resources. Okay. There will be more Japanese adaptations of Korean manhwa. I expected this. It's been growing quite a bit in popularity, given that, well, they've kind of been hit and miss. Tower of God Season 1 was a huge thing. Tower of God Season 2, not so much. I have watched, I think, maybe 2 manhwa to anime, productions, and it's 50-50 right now. Because the first one was actually a Returner's Magic Should Be Special. You can find on my channel where I talk about how awful that series ended up being, or that anime. The second was Solo Leveling, and I think Solo Leveling is just raw power fantasy, and there's nothing special there. So it is uncertain when the official announcement of the new Yuru Yuri anime will be made. Rurouni Kenshin wants to make long-term plans. Interesting, because I feel like their recent remake hasn't been all that good. Trillion Game, Korean production team, and Core 2. Okay. Next year, PA Works will have 2 original projects. Okay, I don't know a lot about some of these. Let's see if there's anything else in here that I can count on, or that I can comment on. Nope. I think I am out of things that I actually am familiar with to some extent. So I can close that out. Either way, the big one I wanted to address was the ReZero stuff, because, well, I had zero reason to believe that what this leaker was saying was true, and from everything that I've seen, no one believes him on that. And with that, I think it's time to move on to something that's actually in the trending list on Twitter I have pulled up right now. We're going to talk a little bit focused on Dandadan, the first encounter, because right now it's in its theatrical run, and I believe that it would be good to talk about everything I saw in there and why I enjoyed it. So I went last night to a bigger theater, but it was not a nicer theater than the one in my hometown, because we're a small town. The theater doesn't do the last production, or the last anime thing I think that the theater in my hometown showed was Jujutsu Kaisen 0. Which sucks because, yeah. Anyway, now I have to drive 40 minutes to watch my anime movies. Screw it. So, getting back on topic, Dandadan. It aired the first 3 episodes. It also came with a 25-minute interview with staff and the author and the editor. And it was funny to listen to the author actually talk about his philosophy for writing, because as silly as Dandadan is, he actually describes himself as a very serious writer. Sorry. And he had to say that I need to balance my own writing, because if I am too focused, I get too serious. So effectively, my philosophy is being serious about goofing off. So I have to goof off seriously. It was a very insightful little bit of information. It was also funny listening to the voice of Okarun talk about he was really, really interested in the series, and when he saw it, he was like, you know what, I really want to be the voice of Okarun, so I don't want to read this until I've actually done auditions, when they get the anime. So he did not read the manga until the auditions were up. His words. The director had about trying to match the pacing, being very involved with the author when it comes to the making the anime as faithful to the manga as possible. Hola, señor. Konnichiwa. I'm a little bit sick, but whatever.
Yeah, you sound different.
Yeah, it may be where I'm sitting. It may just be the fact that I'm a little bit stuffed up right now.
You sound like Rags.
But yeah, kind of the same for me. Flirt tape. It was pretty packed. What?
Am I behind for you?
Sorry, everything's locking up for me here. I think I really do need to invest in a good PC and hardwiring it to the internet. Okay. I think we're back.
We good?
Can you say something?
Something.
Okay. So I can hear you. It's just I'm a little bit laggy on my end for video. And it just. So yeah, it was pretty full for me as well when I went into theaters to see this. I was lucky to be able to get a seat next to me on the fly, because after I was done with Magic, I was headed out and I told one of my friends that I was going to the movie. He's like, "Oh, well, maybe I'll come with you."
Nice. What did you guys say?
As far as the humor goes, like capturing like the really quick like change in pace and stuff that happens with the series, I think it does excellently. Of capturing like the really swift changes from like serious to funny to like, yeah, to emotional. It gets all of that really well. It's very fast paced, like the manga. I think it's good. Maybe could have slowed up a little bit more for the anime, but that might just be my opinion because I tend to prefer longer, more detailed stories. That's just me, though.
What'd you see?
Either way, Dandadan, the first encounter. They put out the first 3 episodes in theaters.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I
So
think it's going all weekend.
Can I watch it anywhere yet, other than theaters?
Not right now, unless you want to go find. I don't know if the first 6 episodes that were leaked are still up.
Okay.
Yeah. Either way, how you been, man? Is Rings of Power still killing you?
Dude, I have to keep freaking explaining to people at work. People are like, "Oh, you're a Lord of the Rings fan? You watch the Rings of Power?" And they're like hype on it. And I just kind of kill their vibe. Not like I don't try to, but I'm like, I have to. They're like, "What do you mean?" Like, I run a podcast. I gotta talk about it. And then they're like, "Oh, really? I'd love to hear what you had to say about it." I'm like, I don't know if you would. You might. Probably not. Sure, you can go watch it, but I don't know what it's gonna do for you.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could, yeah, like we could do something here, but yeah, it's just like I feel so bad because I watched like the light drain from their their eyes when I'm like, I have to. They're like, "Well, I love the movies. Like, I think it's really good." And I'm like, "You don't love the movies?"
Well, it's kind of to the point of what I was saying earlier when I was going over some of these leaks, and some of the stuff we were talking about as far as anime goes. I think a lot of people just sort of view entertainment superficially, and don't really want to like look too deep into it, because like a lot of people quickly dismissed ReZero as like as a lot of things, but then you start like looking at like the whole theme of it, and it's really just about like self-worth and not hating yourself. Like that's the entire like theme. Like the two main characters are literally the guy who thinks he needs to be special in order to be loved, and the chick who has spent her entire life being discriminated against for being a half elf.
Right.
And they don't look any further than just, oh, there's not any action. And that kind of goes to a lot of like the dumbing down of society. I don't want to go that route, but it kind of inevitably has to if you're following this. Like people just don't think about things the same way they used to.
Yeah, that's true. And it's like I have people that are like, unfortunately, they're like, oh yeah, like I grew up with freaking Lord of the Rings. I love this show. And it's like, I'm like, what the fuck are your standards? Like, I don't want to, like, dude, it takes everything. Like, I'm a nice person. So, like, it legitimately takes everything in my power to not be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you call yourself a Lord of the Rings fan? Like, dead ass. And I'm just like, I have to be nice. I work with these people.
Yeah.
They're like, so.
Yeah, it's.
I just, it goes to my, like, the part of my brain where I'm like, yeah, it's just, it's superficial. So they're like, they're just watching a show. They're not like watching the show. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, to that example, I mean, whenever I go play Magic with friends, it's always at this one guy's house, and he loves the Big Bang Theory. I don't get it. I think the Big Bang Theory is fucking awful.
I like the Big Bang
like
Theory.
One of the
like 12.
It is one of the most unfunny shows I have. One of the most unfunny comedies I have ever watched. Honestly, I
mean,
could go on a fucking.
There's funny scenes in it.
There was one scene I laughed at yesterday after years of playing Magic with this guy and him having it on the background. But the point of this isn't to dunk on the Big Bang Theory. It's to point out the fact that he just has it on in the background. He's not even watching it. The dude's mostly blind, by the way. He's legally blind. So he has it on in the background. Nobody's actually watching it. That's what a lot of people do these days is they're on their phones or doing something else and they just have it on in the background. That's why like shonen battle anime that doesn't have a whole lot of like depth to it gets so much attention. It's because it's just flash and whatever, and you don't actually lose where you are.
Yeah, that's facts. And also it's like, dude, when it comes to like people find Rings of Power so fucking intriguing. And like I listen to the dialogue as I watch this show. Like I'm trying to like get the quotes so I can talk about them like on stream, and like they don't make sense. They literally don't make sense. It's like there's the famous one from season 1, like, well, why does a boat float and a rock sink? Because the rock
is pseudo-intellectual bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I could literally say to you, like, why does a dog walk on all fours and a human walk on 2 legs? Because humans were made that way and dogs weren't. And it's like, wow, holy shit.
Why does a boat float but a rock sinks? Density, you dense motherfucker.
Yeah, but he's like saying
it's about water displacement and buoyancy. That's why it floats.
Yo, straight up.
You think the elves would understand this because they have boats of their own, right?
Kieran the Shipwright is the one who created boats. There was no boats before Kieran the Shipwright. Boats did not exist. They were not a thing.
I don't believe in boats. Boats are fake news.
Boats aren't real. They're not real.
People are eating their boats.
Real. The Valar never would have made boats. They wouldn't need them. Wouldn't need them.
The orcs are eating other people's boats. I have elves and the men of the West telling me that the orcs have come in and they've eaten their boats.
Elendil is fake news. He shouldn't even be there. Wasn't around. Bro, how about did you see the scene where the horse is like kicking ass? It's just a horse.
I
The
have
horse
I have
kills like
not kept up with it
bro,
whatsoever
the horse
because
killed like
if I'm
3
going to
horses.
rot my brain, I'd rather enjoy it rotting. So I'd watch something like my dear friend Nokotan.
Bro, it's hilarious. It's so fucking funny at this point because there's literally an argument where they make the so first of all, like they're doing the way that rings are made. They're doing it in line with the poem, which is not what happens. So they're like, oh, they talk about the elven rings, and they talk about the dwarven rings, 7 for the dwarf lords, and 9 for the race of men doomed to die, right? So that's how the show's doing it, because the show thinks that's the order they were made in. When in reality, like, Sauron didn't even know that there was elven rings until he put the one ring on. He thought he was not, like, he just thought, like, all right, I got the race of men under control, I got the dwarves under control. I'm going to put this ring on, see what's good. And he puts it on. He's like, what the fuck? The elves made him? Those dumb fucks. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's what actually happens. And in this, he's talking to Celebrimbor, and the dwarves are like, yo, these rings are corrupted. And they're like, oh, I know how to fix this. There's only 7 of them. So let's make 9 for men, because 3 times 3 is 9. So that's dope. That's literally their argument. They're like, well, we'll just make more. These ones are corrupted. Celebrimbor, it's got to be something you did. It's definitely not me who just walked out of fire like 2 days ago.
You know that actually checks out, Roland, because these are people who believe you can print your way out of debt.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
So it does not surprise me that they would think that that would be the solution. But this goes to show, like, I guess again, like the mentality that people have towards fiction these days is they don't put much thought into it. Like when I get into a series, I really like to sit down and ask a whole lot of questions. That's why, like I announced earlier in the stream, that my next video is going to be about a particularly interesting incestuous character from an anime that's been fairly popular, talking about why I think it's all an act and why she in particular is doing that kind of stuff, because that's the kind of fun thing to like really get to the roots of, like why is this happening, what are the reasons behind it, is it logical. Another one, Shoshimin, just ended. It had a really good like moral conundrum at the very end of the series, where like there's this chick who was scared of someone who used to bully her committing crimes against her. Basically, she thought this chick was going to come and like cut her and like physically assault her. So she set up this elaborate scheme to frame the chick for kidnapping, and pretty much manipulated that chick into doing all those things. So while technically wrong, I mean, it presents an interesting situation. Like, where do you draw the line on that, huh?
Yeah.
Framing someone who was going to be a criminal anyway for a crime is an interesting conundrum.
Yeah. That's true. Also, Muffler Tape's comment here. There are types of people who do not read instructions and just wing it, thinking they know how things should go. Hubris. I feel personally attacked. No, I'm kidding.
I was about to say that's me with everything except for Legos.
No, I do that, but it's mostly with something that I have a rough idea of. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, I see a picture of this and it's got like really simple pieces. Like this shit's easy. I don't need those. And then I'll look at them if I need them, like just to be safe when I'm done. Be like, yeah, I did it right. That's like like, for instance, like I've put so many shelves up. I don't need to look at fucking instructions. Or like I've put together so many different like fish tanks in my lifetime that it's like, all right, when I get a new one, I don't have to look at instructions. It should just is easy.
There was one time for something other than a Lego that I wish I actually had instructions. You know that Commander Ervin statue I have?
Yeah, all right. I definitely look at the instructions for all my figures.
Mine didn't come with instructions.
Oh no.
Yeah. So that was interesting to try and figure that out.
Bro, and sometimes it's the worst with the anime ones because it'll be like 6 pieces, and you're like, why does this not look right? What the fuck? Like it looks
Especially
like
when they're like the custom made ones.
yeah,
Fair point. We were talking about source material doing their own things. Yeah. So like if you want to view the source material as instructions, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much like if I were going to write someone else's series, I would want to familiarize myself with that series as much as possible.
exactly.
You would think that would be the case, right?
You would think so.
Like if I'm going to write Batman, I'm going to try and pick out some of the best Batman stories there are and emulate what those do. And ultimately what I would end up writing would be like the sort of like hard-hitting mysteries that like the Long Halloween had.
That's a great fucking comic run.
Yeah, actually. And I still have to thank Pilgrim for sending me that way.
Yeah, that's a great run, dude. But I just got to show you a picture of something that was brought to my attention on EFAP today while I was at work, and I had to look at the picture just because I heard them talking about it. And
oh Lord.
So we were making Trump jokes, right, about Middle Earth. So this is like an actual drawing of the character of Ar-Pharazôn, who is a Numenorian. And yeah.
Okay, let's see what you got here.
Looks like Donald Trump getting mad at Sauron, dude.
It hasn't loaded on my end yet. I'm still waiting on it.
Do you see it now?
Yeah, it looks like all of the God Emperor Trump memes. That's what it looks like.
It does, doesn't it? That's supposed to be when Pharazôn captures Sauron, and well, not really, because Sauron lets himself get captured and ends up going back to Numenor, and then he causes the destruction of Numenor, pretty much. But it's funny as hell.
That's basically when Iluvatar makes the world round, right? He separates Valinor from
yes,
from Middle Earth, and then Numenor is swallowed up in the abyss as the Earth is split.
Yeah, pretty much.
Thank you, random Lord of the Rings lore account on Twitter that actually went over that today. That popped up in my feed.
Was it the High King of Feanor?
Yeah,
the Chad High King Feanor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a great channel, dude, or great account. I think he has a YouTube channel too, so shout out. But yeah, if you want Lord of the Rings lore that's like accurate as all get out, then I think his name is literally like the Chad High King Feanor, which, by the way, High King Feanor is a freaking Chad. In the lore, he's the man, dude. He's the one who creates the Silmarils. So he just takes the light from the trees, like and makes crystals.
I was about to say, wasn't the creation of the Silmarils what caused the light of the world to become impure?
No, it caused so many different events. That's why they call this, like, that's why there's so many minor events within the Silmarillion, because it all stems from him creating these things.
Huh.
Which is like thousands of years, because freaking Morgoth was like, Morgoth, the god of darkness, thought they were beautiful. And he wanted them. You know what I'm saying? That's how freaking dope these things were. That the god of darkness was like, this is pretty sick. I want them.
And yeah, this is one thing that I think is a very interesting dichotomy, like a point of comparison between Eastern and Western creative industries. Respect for source material, because I've just been talking about Dandadan here, and like the anime is like hugely faithful to what happens in the manga. It did an excellent job of covering the source material, like almost to a T. I'll have to go back and actually read the first couple of chapters to cross-reference that, but it's good because it's faithful to the actual spirit of the series.
I mean, you could argue
we don't get that out here,
Man, right? I mean, you could argue the same thing with Chainsaw Man, right? So it would make sense that Dandadan is as well. Because Chainsaw Man's pretty friggin' accurate.
Well, that's like just about everything that comes out of like the anime industry at this point. Is they're trying to be as close to the source material as possible. Same with this ReZero season 3. One of the big things that people complained about in season 1 is a character named Aldebaran had a huge piece of dialogue and world building cut out because he's supposed to have this like conversation with the main character Subaru about how they're both from quote unquote beyond the Great Waterfall, which is the edge of the world in this series. Implying that both of them are from our world.
That's cool.
Which later spirals out of control as you learn that potentially there are far more other worlders out there throughout the history of this world than just those two. I'm not gonna potion into the waste. Anyway, that's covered in like the early parts of season 3, by the way.
Where
but the stuff like that got cut out, and it's caused huge problems because now it's moving into like arc, and now through arc 8, and now they're on arc 9 for ReZero. Something that happened in arc 3 was hugely important to what's happening because Aldebaran is one of the major players in these later parts of the story. But yeah, I mean, now with season 3, they've made like a committed, like vocal effort to be as faithful to the source material as they possibly can.
As they should.
Because of problems like that. And I feel like too many of these Hollywood creatives, I mean, not to steal the line, but it's just hubris. Like, they don't actually care about what they're making. They just see a title that they can make something with. They ultimately do want to create their own thing, but for some reason don't have enough faith in trying to promote their own thing. Like, love him or hate him, at least Zack Snyder tried to make something new with Rebel Moon, okay? At least he tried something new. That is all I will say, okay?
He definitely made something.
Look, I know how we feel. I know how it's not good.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, I know.
Somebody mentioned wheat like twice, and then wheat was just the main catalyst for everything.
Yeah, like they literally just changed their motivation in the middle. I know how it goes. It's all.
And then the one white guy.
I will say,
the one white guy, and everyone's like, he's gonna definitely betray us. He's like, I'm not gonna do that. And then at the end of the movie, he's like, guess what?
Yeah.
There's some really cool concepts in there, but they don't jump on them. They don't delve
No,
into
that's what I'm getting at is like a lot of these people, like that's why I say at least Zack Snyder had the decency to make something of his own. Whereas most people will just co-opt a completely different IP and try to turn it into something else, like has happened with Rings of Power, trying to turn it into Breaking Bad or House of the Dragon.
Bro, that's the other thing, dude. Today, somebody was like, oh, dude, I can't wait to see what they do with that troll, man. That troll is so fucking cool, man. Can't wait to see what they do with that troll in Rings of Power, man. I was like, I can't wait for you to stop talking.
It's a troll. We've seen trolls and Lord of the Rings before.
Trolls based on Mike Ehrmantraut. I'm not even joking. They said that.
I hate this world. Anyway, yeah, it's a muffler tape to talk about the quote unquote six-faced world. I actually recently rewatched that episode of Mushoku Tensei, and when I thought that was just like a throwaway line at first, but looking back on it, like after going through it, I'm like, okay, I never trusted Hirogami to begin with, but now this whole line seems really fucking sus. Especially after reading some of the light novels for this upcoming video I've been working on about particularly the crimes of Rudius Greyrat. But yeah, it's one of those things where, like, in a lot of these older stories, some of these small little points matter massively because they have huge implications later on. Which is why when people take IPs and try to turn them into something they aren't, it causes problems because, well, one, you have a core audience that expects thing. It's like if I ordered a hamburger and got a fucking Caesar salad, well, it's got meat and veggies and the croutons count as bread, right? Same thing, right? You should like it. It's got all the same things, right?
Right. Well, I mean,
no, I wanted a greasy burger with some melted cheese, okay?
Here's a really good example of that. Game of Thrones. Jon Snow not fighting the Night King. Like, everything was set up. I could have asked somebody who'd never watched that show, do you think this guy's going to be the one that fights the Night King? They'd have said yes. Because it was so fucking blatantly obvious to everybody for 7 seasons that Jon Snow was going to be the one to fight this dude. And hey, even if you hate season 8, at least Jon Snow is going to fight the Night King. He's not going to stand there and scream at a dragon for like 15 minutes. But no, he doesn't.
Oh, no. He actually stands there and screams at a dragon for 15 minutes.
Well, that's technically what it would have been, because the timeline of that episode is so fucked that when he starts yelling at the dragon, you need Arya to get from inside Winterfell all the way to the Godswood and then jump on the Night King and kill him. And you need Theon to run up and like die first. And Bran needs to sit there and just stare at the Night King as the Night King slowly walks towards him. So it's literally like Jon started screaming like 10 minutes ago. And then it just cuts back to him.
And that lung capacity.
Bro, yeah. McQueen.
But yeah, I mean.
But that's like something so simple. Everybody knew that was going to happen. Everybody knew Jon Snow is going to be the one to fight this thing.
Yeah, sometimes like trying to add those like twists in there doesn't actually
No, it doesn't. It rarely does. And that's because it didn't make any sense. You've set it up. You've had him and the Night King cross paths multiple times. You've had the Night King purposely fuck with him multiple times and try to kill him multiple times. To the point where he wants to kill this thing. He has the only weapon that can kill this thing that we know of. Like, there's so many things.
Yeah.
That's set up, and they didn't do it. And I think that's one of the most blatantly obvious examples of that.
And then they wonder why everyone's turning to manga and anime for entertainment. And smaller sections too, slowly, with like indie comics, with indie games, smaller developers, or even like a big Chinese game like Black Myth Wukong.
Yep.
Like ultimately, I don't care who produces my entertainment. I care that it's good. Okay. I don't care if the person producing it is the wokest, most socialist person on the planet. If they make something that actually entertains me, I don't give a fuck, okay? Because I guarantee you, half of the like the manga and anime creators that we love and like respect the name of, I guarantee you we probably don't agree with them on like politics or a lot of that stuff, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't agree with my co-host on politics. Like, I don't care, dude. Like, that's not what makes me like or dislike somebody, unless you're like overly into it. But
so I don't care if a woke person makes something at this point.
Yeah,
I care that a person makes something good. It gives me a red flag if someone is talking about identity politics and Marxism and stuff.
yes.
But if they make something that's actually entertaining and that isn't going to like bludgeon me with a bunch of bullshit, cool, fine, bring it on. I will enjoy it. I enjoyed Blue Eyed Samurai. Okay,
Yeah.
I will say that.
It's a good show. Well, here's an example. It's not an anime, but here's an example. Andor season 1 was definitely made by woke people, and it's fucking spectacular. Oh, I was gonna say,
if I didn't
if I didn't see him say kidding react to that, dude.
No, I was gonna say if I didn't have a hard no politics rule for this channel, I would go on a rant, okay?
But
we'll
yeah,
leave it at that.
like I can almost guarantee you the writers and the crew who made, I mean, they're Hollywood and I probably don't agree with Tony Gilroy on a lot of things, but he made a spectacular first season of a Star Wars show. The most well-regarded Star Wars show that Disney Plus has produced.
Yeah, and it's like I think a lot of people are absolute dickheads. Like George R.R. Martin is a dickhead.
Christian
But
Bale.
I will not denigrate his creative prowess because he has made something that I think stands far above most other creations in his genre.
Yep. Also, he also wrote some of the best episodes of The Twilight Zone.
Martin did?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's where he got his start, was Twilight Zone.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why
he's separating,
because he's really good with nihilism. That's why he doesn't make good endings.
Yeah. I can separate art from artist most of the time. Hollywood actors really push the limit though. Yeah, that's the thing, is when it's like when it actually like leaks into the thing that they're making, that's something else. I got into a comment. I commented a little bit on this, but an author whose book I own, John A. Douglas, was talking about someone who flat out lied about his influence being Michael Bancroft. Maybe that's wrong. I think that's actually I don't remember the name. I might be confusing some people here, but the creator of Elric, who is a socialist, okay? I'm sitting here like, okay, so you like the work of a socialist. So what?
Right.
You can like a book made by someone who disagrees with you. Okay? I love like watching videos on like astronomy, cosmology, astrophysics, that kind of stuff. I probably disagree with a lot of those people on politics and religion, okay?
I almost Crimson, I'm gonna put something in private chat because I don't know. I probably can't make this joke.
We'll see about it. Either way, it's like, yeah, you should be able to separate art from artist. If the artist can't separate their art from their own opinions and make something that's enjoyable, that's one thing. That's the big issue with Hollywood, is they can't separate that stuff out. Go ahead. Honestly, I don't care.
I don't know if I want to give anybody any ammo.
I mean, Ronnie's probably pissed at me, so he might comb through this at some point because I timed him out on your stream.
The joke's gone now, but it would have been funny.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, it's like it's the same thing. Yeah, you talk about Ben Shapiro, that brings up the idea of the New Norm show, which technically isn't anything to do with Ben Shapiro, but it's kind of that like right-wing sort of counter to all of the bullshit. It's still the same problem though. It is literally just vitriolic ideological drivel meant to offend one side because it doesn't feel so good when we do it, huh?
Right.
It's not good entertainment. Just like the Big Bang Theory is not good entertainment, because all it is just bad caricatures of nerds, and what it feels like is like people who just wanted to shit on nerds made a show to shit on nerds.
Pretty much.
There isn't a good yeah, I'll end my rant here. There isn't a good character in the Big Bang Show. Every single one of them is fucking awful. They're all awful people.
James Earl Jones had some great parts in that show, though. Shout out. Rest in peace.
I actually didn't know he was a part of that. Okay.
No, he was in certain episodes, and he was hilarious every time. But, hey, speaking of a Star Wars actor, like, one person I can say that I really fucking appreciate, and I think we all do, is Hayden Christensen, because he's never made one comment. Ever.
Well, that's like the power of just silence. Like,
Even
just
when
because you have,
shit, he was like, "I love everybody." Even during the prequels, he was like, "I love you guys. Thanks for your criticisms."
well, that's one of the things is I think it's a biblical principle. It is best to be silent and be thought and be thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all something like that.
Yeah.
I might have that attributed wrong, but there's something like that where basically holding your tongue is considered an act of wisdom. And that's one of the things that's really ruined like movie stars is too many of them have opened their mouths and like everyone has kind of gotten an idea of who they are. Hayden Christensen being a good example of someone you don't hear talk a lot about things, or even Keanu Reeves. I've never really heard him talk about anything specifically.
Dude.
Yeah, and every time he shows up, everyone loves him because there's this like Hollywood nice guy mystique around him, whether it's true or not. For now,
I think it's pretty true because there's been like paparazzi pictures of him like literally just helping people on the street and shit. And it's like, yeah, he's a pretty good guy. Holding the like, it's just
but like
simple things. He's so down to earth.
I mean, when I write, I'm not out here to yes, Keanu is Shadow, and I honestly like the pick. I think it's great. I'm not out when I make videos or when I'm out here to like talk about like writing or actually doing writing. I'm not trying to like force a specific perspective down people's throats. I'm giving my own opinion sometimes. I'm going through things that I think are objective fact that I can back up with observation and detail and logic. I'm not just out here to say, like, I want to indoctrinate people into my way of thinking. I'm not going to go out there and, like, make my first book all about, like, truth, justice, and liberty. No, I'm here to tell a story about a guy taken into another world, who has, like, ridiculous powers, but no one can teach him how to use them.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think my book has any, like, politics other than the politics involved in the world, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's kind of like a Game of Thrones-esque politics where it's just different, not houses, but different groups that all answer to one, but then shit goes down. So then who the fuck are they going to answer to except for themselves, kind of? So it's like,
this is an interesting question, Roman.
I think it's used by one side or the other.
To some extent, yeah, but here's my issue. It's become the same thing with politics to me, and why I don't tune into stuff like, as much as I don't hate Friday Night Tights, it's just one of those things where I've become like, do I want to use all of my energy to sit here and keep tabs on all the things I don't like, or do I want to actually enjoy my downtime? And I'm going to choose to enjoy my time. That's why I dropped politics. Right out of high school, I was big into politics and all that, very argumentative, yada, yada, yada. You probably wouldn't have wanted to be friends with me back then. I was annoying as fuck. 2020 rolled around and I stopped caring because it was Crusade of the Day. And that's kind of what a lot of the culture war has become, is just the crusade of the day. People are losing track of the actual big issues. Like, look at gaming. A lot of people want to talk about DEI and bridge and woke stuff. They're forgetting that one of the huge issues is financing. Okay. Yep. The quote unquote woke cultural Marxist ideology that is there is a symptom. It is not the disease. And that kind of goes for a lot of what's going on in Hollywood. Is they're getting these huge like backings from like corporations, right, to produce these things. They don't actually care all that much about the fans. They're trying to appease the corpo overlords to get their money.
They don't have any money though. They're all getting their money from the banks.
Yeah, again, it's just they're doing the infinite money glitch, but when the poors do it, it's fucking illegal.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, I said there's supposed to be no politics on here, but here I am ranting about something that's pretty close to it.
Hey,
either way,
you didn't Democrats or Republicans, so you think you're still good.
Yeah. As far as the culture war goes, I think there's definitely some intent behind it to keep people divided. Some of it is from both sides, but I think a lot of it is just people want their mic drop moment and people want to be right. And like I said, you can pick out like the conservative entertainment is just as bad as the woke entertainment for the exact same reason. And I'll talk about like the New Norm show, Mr. Burnout, Lady Ballers, that kind of stuff. It's like you're just spiteful, trying to ram ideology down people's throats when all they want is some good escapism. And if I have to choose between constantly keeping up with something that I don't like or escapism, I'm choosing escapism every time.
Bro, that's why like I like to watch what's it called? Normal World, because Dave often makes jokes, like Dave and Corey Black Garrett. Like, yeah, they're on Blaze TV technically, but they make fun of Blaze just as much as they make fun of everything else. And that's why I like them, because they always make jokes. They're like, yeah, we're gonna lose our studio. Like, they're gonna get mad at us. They'll talk shit on both sides, like, pretty well. Yeah. But it's not a political show. It's not a political comedy show. But obviously, like, you're comedians, you got to make fun of politics here and there. What it is.
Yeah, it's fuck, man. That's why I enjoy anime so much, is because even if I disagree with the points being made on it or like some of the themes of it, I can still enjoy fiction that has meaning to it, and I can still enjoy the escapism of it.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I was just watching freaking, speaking of anime, let's bring it back to it. I just watched the newest episode of My Hero, and I'm freaking loving where My Hero is at right now.
I have not caught up on season 7. I haven't watched a single episode of season 7.
It's so good. It's so good. Everybody's doing something. You get like characters speaking that really freaking needed to like do shit, and now they're doing shit. It's like everybody's involved. It's like full on war. It's really damn good. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. But you still get those really like wholesome moments in the show. Like, it doesn't step away from that just because it's war, but you also get scenes where like certain characters come back that haven't been in it in a while, and you're just like, oh, what's up, dude? Or what's up, missed you.
Yeah. Yeah, as far as that stuff goes, I think My Hero has been like a good passing of the torch from like the American superhero genre over to Japan, and it's taken a lot of inspiration from that and carried a lot of those themes. To touch really quick on Muffler Tape's comment here, I think Realist Hero and Spice and Wolf should be important economic textbooks.
I don't know either one.
Spice and Wolf is all about like trading and shit and like value, and yeah, basically the concept is a guy manages to capture like a wolf god in a bundle of wheat and agrees to take her to the north with him as he travels, and she offers like monetary advice and helps him make money, and like, yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, and then Realist Hero is an isekai where basically instead of the isekai guy who has all the power, you know, fighting and conquering the world and vanquishing evil, he just repairs a kingdom that's in disrepair. At least that's what I understand of it. Muffler will probably correct me if I'm wrong there, because I know he really loves that series.
That's cool. I dig that.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, you got to catch up on My Hero, dude. It's a banger right now.
I have a lot that I gotta watch, and I still have like 8 more days to catch up on shit.
Yeah, now you're not feeling good, so you got no excuse not to.
Well, one of the things I do have to do is I have to catch up on like 5 episodes of Alia Sometimes Hides Her Feelings in Russian, because like I said, I gotta do a video about some incestuous sister. Well, I don't got to, but I want to because it has me
I
intrigued.
need to do this.
The psychology behind it has me intrigued, and like as far if this is what I think it is, I think the writer's done a really good job at making a character out of it.
Okay.
But more on that theory later. I will post that video eventually. Either way, I got to catch up on that one. I got some other ones. Wistoria and The Elusive Samurai are definitely things I need to catch up on. I will probably try to do Demon Slayer and My Hero as well. And I'm probably going to try and cram a full rewatch of ReZero in because in like 2.5 weeks, season 3 comes out. And my body is ready, okay? I am ready.
I'd be really interested to know what you think about My Hero when you catch up on it. Because the show takes a turn in a good way.
Yeah. I'm mostly familiar with it because I actually kept up with the manga as it was releasing.
Okay. So then, for lack of a better term, they stopped pussyfooting around.
Yeah.
In a really good way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to like say any spoilers because I don't know what you do and don't remember, but
we'll just leave it at that. I do kind of know that they really do go all out.
Yeah, Deku stops being a bitch.
Yeah.
There's no other way to say it.
I think he stopped being a bitch sometime around season 4, honestly.
Well, and also when like he just went off on his own in like season 5 or 6.
No, season 4 was when he fought Overhaul, and he was like full on like, I'm gonna kick your ass because you're abusing a child.
Oh yeah, no, that was sick. But like he gets more than that.
Yeah, it's more of like the hardened veteran hero that you would expect someone in like a professional sense to be.
The fight scenes are really well animated too in this season, and it's basically all fight scenes.
I mean, speaking of all fight scenes, Dandadan, they did really well with that one too.
Yeah, I'll have to go and see those episodes.
Yeah, because I mean, it was actually pretty freaking good, and that freaking intro is stuck in my head.
Bro, I can't wait for freaking Bleach's intro to drop. It's a new song from the OG band that made freaking the original Bleach music.
Yeah, according to a somewhat reliable leaker, I say somewhat because I don't trust his ReZero leaks or some of the other things he said. Basically, the idea is that Bleach's production was hellishly rushed with this latest core. Oops, sorry.
Really?
Yeah, I closed the tab already. I should have kept it open. But that doesn't surprise me because they did talk. Studio Pierrot did talk about trying to turn Bleach or trying to emulate Mappa with like high quality rapid production.
Yeah,
a while back.
It was freaking Six Lounge is who's doing the final intro.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't even dropped the song yet on their own. I want to listen to it, dude. It's so good.
Well, we'll see when it comes out, right? Hopefully. Oh God, coughing fit. Jeez.
I don't know how they could rush it. It's been 2 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
2 years to me is not rushing it when we had to wait 10 for one fucking 12 episodes.
I think that's going to be one of those things where it might be wrong. Either way.
Well, I mean, people said Attack on Titan was rushed for the ending, the animation. I thought the animation was fine.
The only complaint I had about the final season of Attack on Titan was the change from 2D to 3D Titans. It just didn't look right to me.
Yeah, I don't like any of their. I'm just not a fan of 3D shit, and I got used to it with Chainsaw Man, but I'm still not a fan of it.
Well, Chainsaw Man did a really good job of not letting you focus on the difference. Everything was so fast paced for the most part that even when they were using CGI, you couldn't tell.
Yeah, but that first episode really threw me off when Denji like comes out of the freaking the dumpster and he's like all 3D. I was like, oh no, that's what they're doing.
I would rather them not use 3D, but I can understand when it comes to like studios like being under high demand to produce. It's a tool that sort of relieves the stress. It's cheaper.
They did.
Yeah. I personally don't like the way it looks. Don't ever mention that to Ivan. I think he's still butthurt over people complaining about season 4 having bad CGI. So if you ever mention CGI, he goes on a tantrum about how dare you put violate the sacred too. He starts making fun of people for not liking.
See, like my main thing is with Chainsaw Man, and they do it in the Blood War too, with the CGI. I think it works in Chainsaw Man because they're the only thing that is CGI is the devils. And the only thing they used CGI for in Bleach was the Bankais. Some of the Bankais.
Mm-hmm.
Only some of them, though. So I think that works because you have like this otherworldly aspect to that. Like it's something that's supposed to be weird looking and unfathomable. So it works, you know? So, but I know they're going to do that to Rize. Rize is going to also be freaking CGI in Chainsaw Man.
It's one of those topics where like I don't mind them using it. I can stomach it, but you get to like the full 3D anime, like the Duke of Death and His Maid, Girls Band Cry, stuff like that. Everyone talks about like, oh, these anime are so amazing. I just look at them, I'm like, they look like a fucking animatronic show.
Oh, dude, the Rize movie is gonna break the internet muffler tape because anybody who hasn't read the manga is gonna be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm so excited for this. I've been saying that since since the first season came out and I read that arc. I was like,
maybe we'll not do another fictionology on Chainsaw Man when after that movie comes out.
Oh, yes, please.
Because that seems like it would be pretty fun.
So I mean, at that point, wouldn't season 2 just be the Gun Devil arc?
I'm pretty sure like after no, because Rize is followed by Hell.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right. Well, not necessarily Hell, but
I say that because I don't want to give too many spoilers away. There's a whole lot going on in that arc.
Yeah, that's a fucking wild arc.
But there's that, and then there's the Gun Devil, and then there's like the final showdown, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you're correct. But that's like all happening kind of around the same time. It's one consecutive thing. It's like they come out of the Hell stuff and they go right into the Gun Devil stuff instantly without a break. It's not like they go home and have like dinner. You know, like that just goes right into it. And then the same thing with the final showdown.
Yeah, it's been a while because I actually read part 1.
Oh my god, muffler tape just reminded me of my girl, dude. Quan Chi. International Assassins. I forgot about that.
You know, speaking of Chainsaw Man, when is the next chapter up? I gotta check that.
Quan Chi is that bitch, dude. She's the shit.
You're hard right now, huh?
No, I just like she's a fucking menace. I love her. She's awesome. She's a great character, dude.
Chainsaw Man. September 17th. 3 more days.
I'm actually at the part in I'm at the part in the manga. I have to catch up. I should do that this week. I just binge it before the new chapter comes out. They're in the jail.
In part 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're in the prison with the turrets out front.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. So I'm like a little bit behind you guys.
Let's see.
I'm not that much farther behind you.
You're not terribly much farther.
She just rolled up like before this.
There's a decent bit that's got to happen.
Oh, I know. I gotta read. I'm excited, but
the unfortunate thing about postponing doing the Chainsaw Man stream is that it just seems like there isn't a release date for the Rize arc yet. So right now it's either late this year or early next year. So
yeah, they released that trailer where it was like all like lovey-dovey music and just a ton of shots of Rize.
Yeah. So maybe we'll end up doing it anyway, or before the movie. I don't know. It's not going to be this month. It'll probably.
Oh, I was thinking
maybe
a trailer in October. Hopefully,
if they do, that would be good. Because I was going to say maybe do it for like an October session, and that way, like we can do it around Halloween because it's kind of like a horror-ish series with,
yeah, some of the shit that happens in that, I'd be pretty horrified if I was Denji.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, but like
he's like the one main character that just can't get a fucking break, dude. Ever.
Denji?
Yeah.
Oh, you ain't even gotten to the chapter yet. Okay. I forgot. You're not out of the jail, huh?
No. No,
he's gonna think I'm a slut. I'll just leave it at that.
Is that something Asa? That sounds like something Asa would say.
It is something Asa would say.
I knew it.
She's such a fucking tsundere.
She is.
Well, just her behavior up to that fucking point, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, like, yeah. She's so obsessed with him, but doesn't know it. She like won't admit it. She's like, I love him, but I won't admit it. War's all like, don't worry, you'll get that dick. And she's like, that's not what I mean.
Yeah, dude, I could pull up the fucking memes, muffler tape. I got them all saved.
He gets labeled as a femcel? That's fucking hilarious.
Oh god, I'm dying. Yeah.
No.
The My Little Femcel memes were fucking hilarious.
Dude, I love Chainsaw Man's fandom, dude. It's funny as shit. I think
but when that chapter aired, dude, it caused such a fucking tism on the internet. There were so many people who were like, why would they do this? What the fuck?
I think by far one of the best Chainsaw Man fandom has ever done is vote Kobeni's car as one of the best characters in part 1. That's God tier, dude. That's God tier.
You want to talk about someone who can never get a fucking break? Kobeni, my god. She has it almost as bad as Denji.
I told you my theory about her devil, right? Because we don't know who she's contracted with.
I think you did, but I might have forgotten it.
You want me to say it real quick? I think it's pretty dope.
Go for it.
I think she's contracted with the bad luck devil. So the worst situation.
Yeah, that would actually make sense.
So because people fear bad luck, so it'd be pretty fucking powerful. And she's always in shitty situations, but she'll always skirt out of them somehow. So I think she has the bad luck devil. Which I think it actually be powerful as fuck. If you think about how many things that could actually do, like maybe the devil's main trump card is like the more shit that she's in that's like fucking terrible, the better luck she has.
Which would explain how she basically becomes superhuman when she's shit out of luck during the sword devil.
Yep, and she's running on
Right.
the snake and she fucking stabs what's his name and literally is dodging
she's literally like at such a huge disadvantage, and all of a sudden like no one can fucking touch her.
Yeah. I think she's got the bad luck devil, dude, which I think is fucking badass if it's true. But I came up with that theory like a while ago. They still haven't like said who her devil is. I think there's a reason for that.
I mean, Muffler Tape's got some wild theories he's told me about as far as like some of the things going on in the series, and his thoughts on Denji and Chainsaw Man are, I will say, interesting because he brings up some points I had absolutely no fucking idea what he were actually real, and then I had to look them up. I'm like, shit.
Dude, I want to talk to him about this. I've had hour-long conversations with my friend about Chainsaw Man before. When I brought up the bad luck thing to him, he was like, holy fucking shit. And he's like pulling up all these little things about Kobeni and telling me, and he's like, you might be onto something.
The power of weaponized autism.
Yeah, literally. I did the same thing with Black Clover. I made a huge call on Black Clover like fucking months before it was announced and like actually shown.
I actually made a huge call on Black Clover too. I don't know if it's the same one, but all I will say is, yeah,
dude, I called that shit.
You want to know when I called it?
Yeah,
his introduction. His
Did
introduction.
You? See, yes. I thought that would have been too obvious. I called that shit when they first started, like the devil worshippers, like the triad, dark triad.
When he takes out their like little worship place. And
no, it was when the dark triad first shows up, like after Asta's trial and shit.
Oh no, it wasn't directly his introduction, but it was like after he takes Asta's sword and whatever. He expresses a very keen interest in Asta for whatever reason. And then there was the thing about that transformation power did not mesh with what we knew about him. And that was the moment like, wait, he has time magic. How did he transform? He's supposed to be a time wizard. How did he transform into an old lady? That doesn't mesh. Okay. There is something wrong here. And I'm getting like red flags going off. This guy can't be trusted.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who said, no, you can't possibly. That can't be true. And then like the manga drops like that chapter. And I'm like, I was right, bitch.
Yeah, because I had said it to my friend who was like way caught up on the manga. And it was like at the time, like before the show even got indefinitely hiatus. And I was like, bro, I'm telling you, Julius is a bad guy. And he's like, why the fuck would he be a bad guy? And I'm like listing all these ideas. And he was like, holy fuck. He's like, well, I guess we'll see if you're right. He texted me like 2 or 3 months later. And he was like, you're fucking right. And I was like, about what? He goes, Julius. And I was like, yeah, I fucking told you, dude.
Yeah, especially with like they started laying out the requirements to create the Tree of Qlipoth.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm like, wait.
The 2 guys that Julius personally trained?
The 2 guys that he took a huge interest in are the exact components he needs to make, or that are needed to make the Tree of Qlipoth. Not only that, he has some unexplainable power.
Well, you could also argue that like, he personally trained them up so that they wouldn't ever be used for that. You know what I mean? Like
well,
some
that was the
people
whole
are-
thing. Is Julius ended up being like an entirely like fake personality.
Yeah.
So whether he intended to or not, the real like manipulator behind it all had every intention.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
Man, that show was so good when the Licht was the bad guy. In the very beginning. The show is fucking spectacular.
it was pretty good. Yeah, I still think it was pretty good all the way into the Dark Triad.
Oh yeah, no, I love it. I love all the characters. I love that show. I'm just like, wow, they're gonna definitely pull a Bleach with this. They're like indefinite hiatus. Raiders Bleach has announced a comeback, and I was like, they're doing it. They're purposely doing this.
The mangaka is basically publishing quarterly, from what I see. He gets 4 chapters a year.
Yeah,
Which
he's
fuck,
so
just let the man finish.
Yeah, he's so good too.
But it might be due to like health reasons or something. Like Togashi, the reason he never finished Hunter x Hunter. Because the dude is literally
Tabata was originally he was doing a weekly for a while. And then he went to monthly. But in the beginning, him and who the fuck does My Hero?
Horikoshi?
Yeah, so Horikoshi and Tabata had a gentleman's like bet on like, hey, let's see who becomes bigger, kind of thing, because they both started at the same time, My Hero and Black Clover. So they had like a friendly, like, you know, like freaking Guy and Kakashi type of like, you know, rivalry. Like it wasn't legitimately a rivalry, but that sounds
as far as this goes, the only concern I would have is that you might get one of the worst endings of all time. Just saying.
Well, is My Hero over?
The manga, yeah. And JJK is about to wrap up in like 3 chapters, and people are really fucking unhappy.
Well, that's not good.
You would get probably like an amazing fucking battle manga. And then because both of them decided that they were going to fumble their endings and disappoint their fan bases.
They just both get cold feet right in the last chapters.
Yeah. Yeah, My Hero Academia's ending isn't that bad. People are just... It was mostly the shippers who were fucking pissed. That's an interesting theory because it would make a lot of sense considering how much was left on the table for both of them and the odd time skips.
Yeah, that's true.
Like with JJK, there is a ton that was never actually like dealt with, like the merger. They like literally in the last chapter, they introduced and then immediately solved an entire other crisis that I think Gege was going to be working on. And then I had this theory that like something might have come up. So if they start working on something together, that could be very, very interesting.
I wonder what the premise would be.
Who knows?
I mean, it would have to be kind of dark too, because Jujutsu Kaisen's not a cakewalk.
Yeah, I think it would be too hard to try and speculate on what they would do because what they have done is pretty dissimilar as far as what they've written.
That's what I'm saying. Like Jujutsu Kaisen is like, in a way, My Hero Academia. Like, if it was the emo kid. Like,
I disagree with that. I don't think it's anywhere similar to My Hero Academia at all in like theme or in plot line, really. I guess you could draw some parallels,
Well,
like the idea of
students. The students in a school that's meant for only like these type of people, and
yeah, but the goals are radically different. Deku's goal is to become a great hero. Yuji's goal is to literally just kill Sukuna.
yeah, but basically both of them had a character that was like, "Eat this," and then they ate it, and then now they're a powerful ass person.
I'm getting hassled.
That's funny as fuck, but it's true. That's probably why I love Tokyo Ghoul unapologetically.
All right, when I catch up on Alya-san tomorrow, that'll be the next thing I start watching. Okay.
I think you're really gonna love season 1 and 2.
I'm about 5 episodes into season 1 right now.
It is a great show. Season 1 and 2, at least.
They're dealing with the gourmet. That's the last thing I watched. Like they're
Uh-huh.
all in the chapel.
He's one of the best characters later on.
And this dude is fucking like, this dude's pulling like a Hisoka, getting off to the idea of eating Kaneki.
Yes, exactly. Kaneki! He's like sniffing the bloody fucking rag.
Yeah, dude, this fucking pervert, dude.
Dude, poor Kaneki. He's just like this normal ass kid who wants to read books and he gets turned into like a fucking demon. And then everybody wants to kill him. They're like, "You're special. Die." Oh no, it gets really dark. There's a scene in season 4 that
You're special. You're special. Die. That sounds like someone with an unwanted pregnancy.
Well, there's basically like, dude, there's a scene. Muffler Tape's right. It gets even darker. There's a scene in season 4 where it's real close to I was really close to getting very fucking mad at the show if a certain person died. Yeah, no, so 3, don't fall off in Don't fall off on season 3. It cooks. You just gotta let it do it. You gotta let it do its thing. Because you're not supposed to know what the fuck is going on for the first half of that season.
So if I remember, it's Tokyo Ghoul, then Route A, then Re, right? That's how you watch that.
Yeah, Route A is just season 2 though. Like if you're watching it on Hulu, it'll just be like season 1, 2, and then Re.
See, I don't watch it on Hulu. So
then yes, it would be Tokyo Ghoul, Route A, and then Re. Re has 2 seasons.
Okay.
Re is like season 2, 3, and 4. Season 1 has a really good intro, in my opinion. It's just fucking chaotic, and I love it. It's like this fucking Japanese chick just fucking screaming. Yeah, Route A does end different in the manga. If you read the manga, Route A has
I actually have the first
doesn't necessarily end different, it just shows more that you then see glimpses of in Re.
I only have one Tokyo Ghoul Tankobon on my shelf right now. I don't have the room or the money to be buying entire series like that to try and read them, or the time to keep up with all that. Like,
bro, my mom told me she works by a comic shop, and she was walking down the street to her car one day, and she's like, "Yeah, there was like this little kid. He was like probably like 8. He was happy as fuck, and he was walking out with a box of manga." And she's like, "I'm pretty sure it was Tokyo Ghoul." And I looked up the Tokyo Ghoul box set and showed her a picture. And she's like, "Yeah, that was it." And I was like, "Kids should not be reading that." I was like, "I'm really glad he's super happy, but he should not be reading." Fucking.
I was about to say that's like, yeah, probably not the one for a little kid to be reading.
Yeah, that kid will have nightmares.
Sit down, son. Let's talk about cannibalism.
Yeah, they're basically vampires.
Hey, he's 3 years old. He's old enough for Berserk now.
Yeah, he won't understand it later. But yeah, Muffler Tape, you're right. That's people do get lost because of that. You see glimpses of it later on in that season, or maybe it's beginning of season 4. I don't know, but It's yeah, in the manga they show a whole thing that happens and it explains where you're at in Re. But I think the whole point with the anime was to not have you know and kind of have that mystery aspect to it in the beginning of Re. Which worked for me. Which doesn't work for everybody, you know. But yeah, there's a certain scene that happens in season 4. I'm just gonna say a wedding. And Muffler Tape will know what I'm talking about. But I was like literally yelling at my fucking TV. I was like, you better fucking not. You better fucking not. Because if they did, dude,
Okay.
if they did, dude, I'd have been really mad.
All right, well, I'll take all y'all word on it, and I will stick through it and try and make it to the end.
Also,
yeah, there's a similar thing like that. Like one of the things, like when I've talked to people about ReZero, is I've always had to say, like, once you get to like episode 12, 13, 14 there, it gets really rough because you're gonna want to take the main character, stick him in a corner, and just beat the shit out of him for the shit he does.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like, so like I get it. Like you got to stick out the hard part and get past it, because once you're through it and you get a whole lot more perspective on how that shapes everything else that comes after it.
It
makes a world of difference.
In the weirdest way. So you just described sex in the weirdest way. It's really hard. You have to go through it. And when you get out of it, you'll see how everything's made.
What now?
Anyway,
yeah. I don't really have like a whole lot of topic stuff to go over. Like I was gonna dig like if I had to, I was gonna dig through a ReZero fan magazine and go over some fan art, but I don't want to scroll through like 50 pages of fan fiction to get to that stuff, so I'm not gonna do that tonight. Some of it's actually pretty freaking cool, but other stuff not so much. Let me see if I can at least find the one that I thought was particularly impressive. Now
I'm just talking to Muffler Tape in chat about Tokyo Ghoul.
Where the heck is it?
Whoa. Toka is the best girl in Tokyo Ghoul, dude. She's still, to this day, probably my favorite female anime character for many reasons. Her and my girl.
Here. Here was the one that I actually really, really liked in here that I did kind of want to show off for ReZero. Let's go with this. Yeah. Someone drew this really freaking detailed sketch of all of the archbishops in ReZero. And I liked their freaking art design. Of course, Gluttony gets 3 freaking panels because it's 3 characters. But then, I mean, you have Sirius, Betelgeuse, Regulus, and most of these characters end up showing up in season 3. And I just wanted to demonstrate this person's amazing artistic talent. We're not going to look at the rest of the stuff because, trust me, I skimmed through some of the fan fiction that was in there.
Oh,
okay. That's why I had something to drink before I came into this stream. I love ReZero the fandom's okay. I'll leave it at that. Like, I don't want to trash the fandom because there are a lot of good people out there, but sometimes you get some interesting stuff. And I don't want to go out and talk crap about other people's hard creative work. It's just not for me. Okay, it's not for me. And the only other thing that I really had to talk about tonight that you didn't miss anyway, Rolo, is the fact that Florida, oh God, Florida banned the manga Sasaki and Miyano, which is like a gay love manga. The two reasons they named: the LGBTQ relationship was inappropriate. They couldn't understand why it was being read from right to left. They banned the manga because they couldn't understand why it was being read backwards.
That's gotta be the most. That's gotta be the most fucking stupid shit I've ever heard of, considering that there's so many different cultures where you read from right to left. It's not just Japanese. It's like a ton of cultures where you read from right to left. Dumbass motherfuckers.
But yeah, there's plenty of fucking stupid people out there. I think it's probably a good time to try and wrap this up because we've been going for over 2 hours now. So, I mean, if you're here, you found my live channel, and if you somehow aren't here from my main channel, go check me out at Crimson Law. I'm hoping to try and shoot for 1,000 by the end of the year. I would really appreciate it. People subbed. Otherwise, you can find me at Crimson Lawson on Twitter because I'm a retard and I like to post over there and talk shit.
Yeah.
How about you, Roland? Where can the people find you?
You can find me at Rolo Lord on Twitter. Grand Admiral Rolo. It's like the name of it. It's like a picture of me. Can I change it? I'll show you. It's this picture. Oh no, wait, it's not this picture anymore. Never mind. But yeah, I'm over there. And
I don't know. I like your lizard profile picture.
You like the lizard, dude? This is like a random fucking.
That lizard looks like a homie, dude.
Bro, yeah, it's a big ass monitor lizard, and he's actually vibing in the middle of a rave. In the full picture. It's from somebody sent me this video on Instagram. And it's just the lizard, it's like a rave, and someone pans the camera down. It's just a lizard vibing with a cigarette in his hand and a drink next to him. He's big chilling.
I feel like at that point it should just overdub it with Guts themes. Do 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 do.
Yeah, right.
Do 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 do.
He's vibing. But yeah, I was looking for a new profile picture for having my camera off, and I was like, "This is great. This works. This fits."
Yeah, I have a couple of them loaded now. I'm not going to tell anyone where this one is from because it'll ruin my reputation. But I also have this one.
I know where that one's from.
Change.
It changed.
Maybe not. I guess not. Oh, there we go. Okay.
No, it changed.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
we will probably see this season.
But I guess, other than that, you can find me this Wednesday again, going over Rings of Power episode 3 and 4. Yeah.
And Rolo sacrifices his sanity so that you don't have to. Reward this man. Show up.
Show up to the Rolo Remcast on RG Energy's channel. Even if you just want to check it out for a little bit. We had a great conversation last week with Great Pilgrim. That was a blast, actually, having him on just to talk about Rings of Power and Tolkien lore. We actually got into a deep ass conversation about Tolkien lore because of one 2-second scene. So that was pretty fun. Yeah, so that was like a while. We basically EFAP'd the damn thing. So I don't know if we'll be doing it the exact same way this time. Try not to, but yeah, we'll be going for a little bit on Wednesday evening. And then other than that, Rollo_films on Instagram and TikTok, which I don't scroll on TikTok, but I post on there because people like to view it. So yeah, I mean, I make anime edits and shit. I'm actually working on one right now. I just don't know what song to put it to, but I have fun making little music videos if anybody wants to see them. There you go.
Okay. Well, I think it is time to hit a wrap. So, Crimson, how about you show us out? Incest is wincest, I guess.